All right, we are live, everybody. We are here for Friday Focus every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern. I am Laura Berman Fortgang, MCC Master Credentialed Coach, author of Now What 90 Days to New Life Direction, and mentor to A-list coaches. So today I want to talk about my biggest learning of 2022. And unfortunately, it's about burnout. And I've shared here and there that I've been dealing with burnout, mostly due to being a caregiver to people who are ill in my family. And but burnout is big news. You know, it's everywhere in the news. We know that people have been through a really tough 3 years um, with COVID and now post COVID and recession, not recession, great resignation, not great resignation. Um, Burnout is on everybody's mind. If you're not suffering from it, you know somebody who is. So, my biggest learning in 2022 has been about burnout. So, I want to share some lessons about how to cope with it and hopefully how to avoid it. But I know a lot of people are afraid and strained and just dealing with a lot. So, hopefully, this is helpful. Here's the thing: you can't outrun burnout. Once you've gotten crispy, toasty around the edges and you're starting to feel like you're burning out, like you can't overcompensate and work harder to overcome it. It's a big sign that it's time for something to change. It's time to slow down. You can't outrun it. So acceptance is huge. Surrender, which is a scary word, especially for type A people, like surrender. I just can't lie down and not work and not take care of my kids and not deal with things. So I don't mean surrender in that way, just surrendering to the fact that you can't outrun it and some balls are going to have to be dropped. Some of those plates are going to have to fall out of the air, and that's going to be okay. I'm going to talk a little bit more about all that, but let me just say for a minute, when you feel burnout coming on or you're in burnout, you got to understand this is about your nervous system, your whole body. So I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to get into all the physicality of that, but your nervous system is shot. We perform at a very high level using a lot of adrenaline to get by, and there's such a thing as adrenal fatigue. And when you're in fight or flight all the time, your adrenal glands are just always going. So when you feel like you just can't perform at the level that you're used to, you got to understand your whole nervous system is probably shot. And there's a lot that you need to do to calm that. I highly recommend Googling how to heal adrenal fatigue. And you'll see there'll be a lot on, what to eat, what to drink, getting out and exercising, meditating, um, being out in nature, doing things that can help calm your nervous system. Because when you're in burnout and your nervous system is shot, trying to ration, reason, and come up with solutions when you're in a stressed out state is really hard for your brain to do. So this is a huge piece of it. All right. So we've talked about you can't outrun it. You've got to accept it. Some balls are going to have to drop. You have to take care of your physical and mental health. And here's some more reflections. Like something that I realize as I care for an elder is that I don't have all the support that I would like from a lot of the people uh, that also are in my family. And what I've come to understand is it's not that people don't care, it's that they can't cope. It's not that they don't care. It's not that they don't care about you, that they don't care about what you're up to. It's that they can't cope. They can't cope with what's going on with them, much less to help you. And yet your support system is one of the most important ways for you to overcome burnout because you're not coping. So I say this not to say there's nobody to help you, but to say that you've got to look at not taking it personally when people can't be there to support you. So where do you find that support? When you ask for support, and this is the main key, most people don't want to ask for support, and you have to. You will be amazed that most people do step up. Not the ones that can't cope, but the ones that are in your life. Like I had to announce to a volunteer thing that I do that I just cannot be in charge of it. And people stepped up and did things that I wish they had done all along. People have stepped up in my home, right? So people will step up, but the first key is you letting people know that you need that, letting people know that you need the support. All right. Now, some of you who are working are like, I can't, how can I can't rest. I can't delegate. I can't give more. I can't, there's no way to recover. We've got to look at where you're overperforming in the first place. We set such high expectations for ourselves. We set high expectations for how we perform, and people have come to expect those things from us. So, when you hear people talking about quiet quitting, another one of the buzzwords this year, it's not that they don't care, it's that they can't cope. And they're really looking at where, they already overperform. So how do we stop overperforming and doing what really matters to make a difference in your job, in your family, in whatever you're up to? And it doesn't have to be perfection at everything. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is watching out what kind of media you consume. When you're in a flight or fight state, when you're, constantly adrenalized and you want to just chillax and sit in front of the TV, be careful what you are consuming, because some of the media we consume, if you're consuming a lot of news, that's just sending you into fight or flight. Some of the shows that you might find fun to watch might also be very triggering of that. So interestingly enough, now this is a little silly, but thanks to having COVID and reactions to COVID shots over the last couple of years, here's my silly recommendation. You want to just chill out and not consume media that's going to upset you. Watch the Waltons. Watch the friggin' Waltons. That show was on when I grew up, and you knew who all the characters were, but I'd never really watched it, and I'm watching it now. It is the most wholesome TV without being too corny. You've got conflict, you've got progressive issues, you've got, people having a hard time and yet persevering in the name of love. And as silly as that sounds, that is my advice. That or Hallmark Christmas movies, but those are pretty predictable. So let's review. You can't outrun it. You've got to accept and surrender. You've got to ask for support. You've got to understand that your nervous system is shot, and you have to Google how to heal adrenal fatigue. It's not that people don't care, they can't cope. So while you're trying to build your support system, find the people who can cope and help you cope. Stop overperforming and watch the damn Waltons. There you go. There's your Friday focus. Hope you have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you next time. Oh, and those of you who are on Instagram, you can't see the scroll under my screen that I'm doing a seminar for coaches on how to overcome the obstacles to making money as a coach on December 7th. So check out the link in my bio. And those of you watching live, you can check that link or go to the link in those bios. All right. Bye.